And welcome to the Three Quarters to Play. I almost said the Cantina Cast there. It's the old habits, I should say. But anyway, welcome to Three Quarters to Play. I am your host, Mike. And this episode, I apologize for being a little bit of a delay because I've been filling in with the Cantina Cast and co-hosting that, and also dealing with the Clone Wars coming out and breaking all that down. So if you're interested in all that, the Star Wars stuff, go over to the Cantina Cast, find us, and check that stuff out. And also, I've been kind of on pause because there's been a few things that have been happening the past week or so with all things, and mainly because iiRcade, which is what this episode's about for Three Quarters to Play, and even Arcade One Up, they've had some stuff leaking out, or not leaking out, but coming out, and I wanted to hold off on some of that, especially with iiRcade. I'd seen some emails and some stuff on their page, announcement coming, because I was originally going to do this podcast last Monday. And I was going to say, well, they keep saying they're going to announce something, and we don't get anything. So I was like, all right, do I hold on that? Because I get a feeling something's going to happen, and then Arcade One Up was kind of doing the same thing. Well, they really weren't doing the same thing. What ended up happening is people found stuff on Walmart that was, but that's for the next episode. I won't get into that. This is about iiRcade, and so I'll get into this a little bit here. So their announcement was a few things, and number one, there's a refreshed look of this machine. We'll bring it up here, as you can see. Whoops, there we go. That's a better image. You can see that better. You don't need to see my ugly mug. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that there's this new look here. It's black, orange, blue. It's got the New York Mets colors, which I kind of like because I'm a Mets fan. So it's interesting. However, I don't know if I'm sold on this. I'm not sure. It's funny because going in, and I'll get into this as we go, I was pretty hyped for this machine. I was willing to give it a shot, and I thought it was pretty good. I mean, the specs are. I just want to say this: the specs are good. The CPU they're using and all that tech that goes into that, the 19-inch monitor, which is an upgrade, all that's great, and the speakers and everything. And you are paying for that. I'll get to that in a moment. But this look, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to be honest. I'm not sure if they did any better or if they did any worse. I'm going to play through this video here as I talk about it. But as you can see, the redesign, there's a side image right there of it. I don't know. You guys a fan of this or you're not a fan of this? Because I'm not sure. The shape itself was always in question, but it makes a cool bar top if you're going to go that route. The other thing is this stand here is separate. And I think you get to pay for that separate. If I remember, it's like another extra $100 on top of the price that I'm going to get into in a moment. So I'm not sure if this is the way to. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, it's better than what it was, so that's a good thing, right? That it's not as bland, I guess you could say. It's still got sharp angles. It's still that looks the same. I don't think any of that's changed. Let me play through here. A little bit more. So here you go. This is the bar top look of it, which I think is pretty cool. And if I do decide to pull the trigger, I'm going to go this route and not really do the base. But I'll get into that in a minute with what they're doing for their launch and everything. But the controls look a little bit better. Looks like I guess they spaced them out a little bit better. From what I hear, I don't know. I just don't know, guys. Let me play through there. So again, yeah, I mean, not other than the skin, I guess you could say, just for like a gamer reference or something like that. I guess we could use that. The skin, it's better. I'm not sure why I'm not digging it so much. Is it the blue? Because I like black and orange is a cool color, and the red, and I typically like even the blue. But I don't know. Maybe it's the honeycomb design. I'm not sure. It is better than the whoops. Let me go back one if I can. Might not be able to hit. There we go. There's a different side view here. I don't know. It's very interesting. So I'm curious what all you guys think of the look. It is definitely better than the Newport Mansions Marble White, as my friend Retro Ralph was saying. This is a lot better. The speakers are certainly right in your face, so you're gonna hear everything, and and it might knock your teeth out because they seem pretty powerful. Now, is that a bad thing with the speakers being right where they are? I mean, they've always been there, right? I mean, this is nothing new, but now it's very pronounced, I guess, for some reason, which is odd because before the black speakers and it was a white background and you knew it was there, but now it seems to stand out more for me. Um, Maybe I'm just a weirdo. Huh. Let's play through this a little bit more. So a closer look at the speakers here. You know, what else can you say? They're going to be very powerful speakers and they're going to be right in your face. So, it is what it is. And hey, whoop, let me go back. Let me go back here. Better look at the control deck. Now the control deck looks pretty darn sweet. And it looks like they got plexi over the control deck as well, like iiRcade One Up. They went that whole route too, which is pretty good. Um, Seems like there's plenty of room on there if you want two people to play. But again, these 3/4 size machines, right? The room is it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit. So I think they did as best they could with it. So I mean, you know, in any case, here we go. Well, let's go into this. You can see a little bit of gameplay here. Uh, that looks pretty cool. Double Dragon there. So yeah, I mean, the gameplay looks good. It looks like it's going to run well because of the CPU and everything. The guts that they put in there is premium. And you can't go wrong with that. And I thought that was great that Zhang from the head honcho there said, he said screw money, because they wanted to make this machine for gamers and they wanted to make it right and they wanted to do right. So I applaud them for that. I think that's a fabulous idea and the way to go. I just the design and the price. I don't know. Not so much the price, to be honest, because I'll get into that in a second. But we'll watch a little bit of the gameplay here, as you can see some of the games here, and it looks like there's no issue here because of the CPU that they got in here, the text that is going through there, and everything else. There's more information out there regarding that. I'm not going to get into it now. I'm not really into the whole spec thing with it, but it's going to be very powerful, and you're going to pay for it, and whatnot. So let me get out of this. Here we go, and we'll go over to their homepage here, so you can get even a better look here, with how things are. So my gripe is really not so much this here, as I'm highlighting it online on the video on YouTube. If you can see it, if you can't, it says starting at $599 MSRP. That's not too bad. That's right in line with At Games Legends, which I think is their most, I guess, similar competitor, really. I don't think iiRcade One Up is a different thing from both of them, really, but this is kind of as close as you get as a competitor for At Games, the Legends, and this. That's pretty good competitive price. My big thing is, like, for the base itself, I think the base is another $190 something or something like that. Like, I don't know if I can justify that, that price tag for the base. I mean, look at it right there. It's just a giant wooden box, really, at the end of the day. But if you go on bar top thing, which I probably would, because it would fit perfect where my bar is right over here where I was doing the show prior, I think that would work out pretty well. So that's probably the way I would go. Would I get the base here? If it depends. If I do the Kickstarter thing, which we'll get into in a second, and it comes with it because it's a perk, well, yeah, I'll obviously take it and I'll put it aside and leave it and pack it away somewhere in case I need it for something someday. But here's what makes me nervous, and I got to give props to Unqualified Critics for it, because he talked about this whole Kickstarter thing. He'd mentioned, and I'd watched his video, I think earlier today or whatever, or yesterday, last night, and it's a Kickstarter program, and they're gonna give you a special discount it's gonna cost you $299. And bells started going off when that happened. First off, it's Kickstarter, and I've had pretty decent luck with Kickstarter, but I know there's a lot of people that have had bad luck with these kind of crowd-funded stuff, and it doesn't go the way you want or you think, and you don't get what you paid for, really, at the end. So that had me a little leery. And then, Console Kits made a mention that, like, well, it's more to show, because they got all these games that they want to get in, these third-party publishers they got to get. And he made a good point where they need to show that people are buying the machines, and this is kind of a way to say, well, look, we have a fan base, and here you go. So I get that. He made a good point. I'm still leery on this. It's like, and he made the point, like, oh, what, do they not have enough financial backers to get the program started and everything? So there's that whole, is this kind of a scam? And I don't think it's a scam at all, because I think the owner, Zhang, is very much all for this, making this the best machine possible. And as he said, as they hashtagged in the live chat that day, screw money, basically, and that's why I named this episode that. Um, so yeah, I'm a little wary on that. Now, am I going to buy this? I don't know. I have to see when the Kickstarter comes out and what the perks are and when the release is going to be and that. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to go. And it's funny because I was very high up on this machine. Well, not high up, but I was very optimistic and very um gun ho about it. Like I was more excited about this than like say the at games really. And the at games kind of surprised me. And this one, not that I don't think this thing will be garbage, because I don't think it'll be garbage at all. I think this is going to be a pretty damn good machine. I just worry when we do the Kickstarter thing and maybe there's not enough backers or something, and maybe that's just me just in my head thinking this. So don't think that that's the case at all. Um, so I'm just nervous for some reason, and I feel like all right, we back this machine, we do the 299, but then the publishers don't want to come on board, and then it's kind of like a giant paperweight. That's my concern. I'm kind of leery with that when we get into the uh this Kickstarter thing. Now, in all fairness to Zhang and iiRcade, is they're really a mom and pop shop. Really, it's a few people. I have to imagine maybe a handful of people. They don't have that company backing, corporate backing with vendors and all that other stuff like Tastemakers or Arcade One Up and and at games. You know what I mean? So they are at kind of a disadvantage right there, and they can build on something here. So you got to take the path of least resistance, and this is what their option is, and I think it's a good option for them. For me, it's just me getting over it in my head of what I want to do, and then you got to think about it like, as I saw Retro Ralph today doing a live stream on his birthday. Happy birthday, Retro Ralph, by the way. Um, he showed a little tour with his camera, and you saw the back of his house has arcades all over the place, and you're saying to yourself, well, where the heck can I put another machine? Because this is becoming an addiction, as I think all of you are realizing. As you're like me, you just kind of bought all the machines there, and you're looking to even expand upon that. And Retro Ralph and console kits were kind of right. Like this is kind of a gateway to getting real arcade machines, and that gets me nervous because if that happens, I don't know. I really I have the space. It's a matter of just wanting to lug all that crap in there and keeping up with the maintenance. That's the biggest hurdle for me with that. But for the most part, I think it was great. It's a good refresh. I like it. It's pretty good. Um, so I think they are listening to feedback, and they adapted well, and I think they did a pretty good job here overall. The pricing I think is reasonable when you compare it to its competitor, which is the At Games. Really, oops, sorry for jumping around with my mouse. Can't find my mouse. Here we go. That's not too bad. But then when you add in the base with the whole, the basically a stand for another $100. I mean, but then again, you think about it. There's a stool that I just got from Arcade One Up that's $79, and you question that price. And even the risers themselves for the Arcade One Up is $40, $50 sometimes. Is that really worth the price for that it is and what the purpose it serves? I don't know. I mean, it's your money. Do whatever you want, but. I'm a little wary again, as I said, and we're gonna have to wait till we get to the Kickstarter launch, and I'm looking forward to that. I assume that's in a few weeks that'll be happening, or in a month, and I'll have an update on that. I'll obviously do a show about it, and we'll talk about it and see what happens. See if I pull the trigger. I said I wasn't gonna pull the thing on the at games, and I did, and then even the other at games thing that's coming out, and I can't remember the name, but the tabletop version of the at games legend with the pinball. My best description as I can give. I pre-ordered that too. So, I say I'm not going to do it because I'm a little wary, but I probably will. But again, it's more of a mental thing with me with the Kickstarter thing and getting nervous about the future, because if it doesn't take off, then we're kind of, in that situation. But I guess we'll deal with it when we get to it, right? When we get to that bridge, we'll get there and we'll have to deal with it then. But anyway, I guess that's going to do it for this week's show. There we go. I hit the right button this time. So I will see you guys on the next one, which will be in a few seconds, actually, because I want to record another episode about Arcade One Up. So if you see me with this shirt on again in the next video, that's the reason why. So I will see you guys on the next one, as Retro Ralph would say.